Hey, how's it going everyone? It's DeLuca here and welcome back to another video. Today's video is on Frostpunk and we're going to be talking about the start of the game. The reason why we're talking about the start of the game is because a lot of players struggle with it. The main reason why a lot of players struggle with the start of the game, specifically Frostpunk, is because the game doesn't really hold your hand in terms of how you play the game. So it doesn't really give you a really good tutorial in how to establish the city from the get-go. So in today's video I'm going to be doing that for you guys. You're going to learn about the UI briefly and what everything that you see on the screen means. I'm going to teach you guys about the citizens system and how the citizens work and contribute to society, and I'm going to briefly talk to you about the resources. Then after that we're going to jump into how to set up the city from the get-go, so from the start, what comes first, what comes last. I'll also tell you guys how you could develop onto this guide, and that way you'll have an understanding and an idea of where to go to next after this video. I hope you guys enjoy and let's jump into it. Okay guys, so here we are. Now as soon as you start the game, this is what you'll see. Now I've actually paused the game here. You can pause the game with space or you can press up here. You can change the speed of the game from up here. I recommend you guys pause it, that way you'll have a good view of where you stand, because this area changes from the different times you start it in terms of where the stockpiles appear. So yeah, just pause the game, have a quick look around, see how Crater is looking, and that way you'll have a good understanding of where to start. Just a quick overview, as I said, of the game's UI. Now up here you'll have coal. This is the first resource in the game, which is coal. This is the most important resource in the game. It's what generates the heat. So this is your generator. What happens is your citizens will basically collect the coal around the map, and they're going to use that coal to run the generator. Now once you do your research in the game and then unlock other forms of heat, you'll need more coal to run that heat, to generate more heat. So as you upgrade the generator as well, you'll need to upgrade it because the temperature will drop significantly over time, and as you upgrade the generator, it's going to start using more and more coal. So your coal production needs to increase as you develop and progress through the game. Now secondly, we've got wood. Wood is basically collected through the stockpiles right here. Same as coal. Coal, you start off with a couple of stockpiles here and there, but with wood it's the same thing. You've got stockpiles around, but later on you can obviously collect wood from trees like this. You'll have to build some form of resource collection depot for these trees, and your citizens will eventually cut down all of these. So this is limited. It's gonna eventually run out. But after that, there's also other methods of collecting wood, which is drilling into these craters, because there's trees inside these craters, because apparently the snow and it's frozen everything basically. So these machines will drill into the walls in specific areas that are marked in the map, and they're going to collect unlimited amount of woods. Next we have steel. Steel also comes in stockpiles at the start of the game, and once this runs out, the only thing you can use to make more steel is mining iron ore deposits, which are around the map, these things. So you'll have to also build some form of buildings on top of these, and your citizens will start extracting unlimited amount of steel from underground. So eventually, once you run out of stockpile steel, then you'll have to build a certain building that will mine out steel from the iron ore deposits around the map. You may have, I'm pretty sure you got like 3 of them around, unless I'm mistaken. Maybe there's only 1. You're either gonna have 1 or 2, because I'm pretty sure the others are for coal. Like this one is coal, yeah. There's 2 coal here as well. You can build 2 buildings here that will mine out coal. So yeah, that's a shame. There's only just 1 iron ore deposit. But obviously, as you progress through the game and do more research at the workshop, you'll advance and basically open up upgrades that will upgrade this building and extract more iron ore. Then after steel, we've got steam cores. Now these are very, very important for very advanced buildings around the game. So certain buildings in the game will require these resources to be built, such as buildings like the hothouse. The hothouse is used to grow crops that will make food every day for your citizens. So yeah, you'll need a steam core to build something like that. I'm pretty sure coal mines will need steam cores as well. But yeah, basically any advanced building in the game will require a steam core. Now unfortunately you can't make steam cores in your city. You'll have to find those steam cores through the scout system, which is you have to build a beacon and all that, and set up a scout. They'll find different things, which is pretty interesting. Next to that, we've got the temperature. So this is the temperature gauge. Right now it's sitting at minus 20 degrees. If we press on it, it will show you the map in color. Like right now it looks a bit greenish, and if you look at this gauge here, greenish is chilly. So this whole area is chilly right now. If you hover over chilly, it basically says low risk of falling ill. So your citizens have a low risk of falling ill. As it gets colder, the more right you go, the colder it gets. So once it gets colder, it says moderate risk of falling ill, high risk of falling ill, freezing is very high risk of falling ill. Now you want it to be somewhere between livable and comfortable. You can get away with chilly, but as it says, low risk of falling ill, so your citizens could fall ill in chilly. But whereas if you have them in livable and comfortable, they're very, very low chance of them falling ill. Now yeah, I'd recommend you guys keep it at comfortable or livable. I know it's very difficult to keep the outside areas as livable, but just try to do that. Otherwise chilly should be fine. You can also open up the temperature grid, the map grid, with O on your keyboard, so that's a shortcut for that, and it shows you the shortcut as you hover over it. Now here we have raw food. So raw food is food that your hunters get, or this is the first thing that you get. Like if you have food, this is what it is. It's raw food. Now your citizens can eat raw food. Unfortunately they can get sick from raw food, and it's not very healthy for them. So what happens, you'll have to build a cookhouse. A cookhouse, think about it, it's like a restaurant. So what the cookhouse will do, you'll have to put citizens in there to work. They'll collect this raw food and make it into rations. Something good about food rations, is that when they take one raw food, they can turn it into 2 food rations. That's very beneficial for your city. In that case, you'll have, instead of 100 raw food, you'll have 200 food rations. And that's going to basically increase the supply that you have, which is very, very important. Later on down the track, obviously you got laws here. I don't want to ruin the game for you guys, but there could be some laws. There are some laws actually where you can increase the food rations that you gain from one raw food. You can make it you can make one raw food turn into 4 food rations, for example, but you'll have to experiment with that later on your own. Now down here we got the day forecast. Now we're at day 1. As you progress through the game, this will increase. We'll go to day 2, day 3, day 4, and as you move down, as you progress through the game, this will keep moving downwards. Now as you can see, we got a temperature drop right here on day 4, which will decrease the temperature by 2 points. As you can see here, there's 2 arrows pointing down, which means the temperature will go down by 2 points. 2 points in this game, each point is 10, minus 10, so it's 10 degrees. And at this point, because it's 2, we're going to have 20, so it's going to go down minus another 20 degrees on top of this 20, so it's going to be minus 40 degrees in 4 days. This is what I'm talking about. This is the first challenge that most players that I've spoken to deal with, because if you don't have the city set up by day 4 in a very efficient way, then you're going to have very sick citizens by the end of this, by the time you reach day 4, or when you reach day 4. So I'm going to teach you guys very quickly on the best way of starting. Now at the bottom here, if we hover over this, these are your citizens. Now we've got all these people unemployed, so 50 out of 50 workers are unemployed, then 15 out of 15 engineers that are unemployed, and then we got 15 children. Workers are basically the citizens that you find a lot of, so they're very, very common. These workers are basically adults that can work in anywhere except for specialty buildings that require specialty. So they can basically work on collecting stockpiles or work in coal mines and stuff like that, but they can't work in medical posts, or they can't work in workshops to do research. You'll need engineers to do that. So any buildings that requires specialty, you'll need engineers to work in there. So it's very important to keep track of how many engineers you've got, because if you run out of engineers, then guess what? You can't run those specialty buildings, and a lot of specialty buildings play a major role in the city. For example, like a medical post is very, very important. If you don't have enough engineers to run it, then basically you're stuffed, because who's going to heal your sick? So keep track of that. Now you got kids here. At the start of the game, kids can't work, but you can sign certain laws to either make them work or benefit society in some other way. It's totally up to you what to do. I've tried both ways. I always choose to make them work, because at the end of the day, it's a game and it's not real. So it's whatever benefits me, and them working benefits me more than them just sitting down. Finally, right here, we've got these two bars: discontent and hope. Okay, now as you progress through the game, you may have your discontent may rise, and you need to be careful of that, because once it reaches a certain point, you may lose the game. If it rises to a point where it's really high, then you may lose the game. Same with hope. You want to keep hope as high as you can, because hope will make people happy, will mean that you're a good ruler. But just as discontent, if it rises, you'll fail. If hope decreases and falls, then you'll fail the game, because people will turn against you and you'll just lose. So that's the gist of that. So this basically changes depending on your ruling, depending on the things you do around the world, depending if you meet certain criteria down here and certain missions. So you need to pay attention to that. Okay guys, so now we're going to start on what to do first. So now once you start, it says stockpile some coal right here. It's very straightforward. Then turn the generator on. So what we're going to do is find the closest stockpile of coal. We're going to add as many workers as we have, so 15 out of 15, and then we're going to start collecting some wood. We're going to add more workers there. We're going to add some workers at the steel, and we're going to add more workers on the wood. We're going to add most of our engineers on there as well, and then what we're going to do, we're going to also sign a law. What I'm going to sign is, I'm going to sign child labor. Now once we sign it, as you can see, our hope decreases, it falls, because it's a controversial law. So we're going to play the game now. We're going to let him collect the resources for now. So I'm going to just make it quickly, just for the sake of time. We'll let him collect some wood, some steel, some of the major resources. And then I'd recommend you guys to start building immediately, to start building your workshops, because I'd recommend you build 2, because that's going to help you progress through the game much quicker, at a quicker pace, because research is fundamental for you to survive, because as the temperature will become very, very hard to survive as you progress through the game, and if you don't have the right technology to survive, then it's going to be very difficult for you. You're going to have a really hard time. I'm just going to increase the time a bit quicker. Now this mark comes up here because you don't have anyone working there. Now we've actually set up a lot of our engineers here. I think we've got 5 available already. You need 5 to work in there. So now this comes up because research has not been selected. The way you can do it is either press down here, technology tree, or you can press T, or you can press on it and add a new research. I recommend you guys to immediately start researching heaters. Okay, I'll tell you guys why you start researching heaters in a second. Then we're going to reduce another 5 from the engineers, put them up in here, and then because we got kids working, we can add them there. Now would be the best time to build some houses, or some other buildings. What I'm going to do is not build houses now. What I will build instead is gathering posts. For example, these are 2 coal piles. This is fundamental for this to work. So I'll put a gathering post right there. Now we'll need a road. You can either build a road by clicking on this, or you can build a road by clicking on construction and right there. And then I will just connect it with a road like that. Okay, now my citizens will build it very, very quickly because they're not working, and this is usually the best time to build roads or to build other buildings when the citizens are not working. Okay guys, so also at this time, since you have a bit of coal, it's time to start the generator. So you just press on it and steam level 1, and you can see how much it's using. So it's using this much per day, and the green part is basically you're not making less than what you're using. Okay, so you're basically getting more coal, you're extracting more coal than what the generator is using. This is what you need to see. If you see that your consumption is higher than your production, then at that point you're going to run out of coal, and eventually the generator is going to shut down. So it's always good to see this. Okay guys, so now my citizens have built this. What I'm going to do is, if you remember, I put 10 people working at this stockpile. I'm just going to see if I've got enough to get them. Okay, so I've got all the kids to work in here. So what's going to happen is, instead of 10 people working on one stockpile, I have 10 people working on 2 stockpiles now. So I'm going to be doubling my production. At this point, we can also sign another law. We're going to sign the emergency shift, because after that we can do extended shift hours. This is a controversial law as well. It's going to increase discontent, but that's fine. After this, we want to build a medical post, because that's important. Okay guys, so the medical post has been built. I'm going to remove all my engineers from there and put them up here. So we had 15 engineers. We got 5 working here, 5 working there, and 5 working over the medical post. Anyone that's sick, they'll take care of him. Anything like that should be fine. So we also need to build a cookhouse. So a cookhouse, we'll build it here. Okay guys, so what I'm going to also do is add more gathering posts around these areas here. Now this gathering post can collect all 3 stockpiles. So we'll just build a road, connect it. Now I know it's very messy. Once you basically understand how the game works, you can start the city once again and follow this guide, and you'll basically always beat the first drop in temperature, and then you can basically structure the map even better. Now it's also very important to mention that certain buildings require less heat. So at that point, what that means is that you want to put certain buildings closer to the generator that require less heat. I mean, buildings that require more heat, you'll have to put them closer to the generator. Whereas buildings that require less heat, you put them further away from the generator. Okay guys, so the research is done for the previous section. We're gonna start off on the next research. We'll do faster gathering, that way we'll get more resources quicker. Okay guys, so I've just added 5 people to work at the cookhouse. So as you can see, it's very comfortable in here. People aren't going to get sick, so that's a +1. I've also removed the gathering post here because I just made a mistake and didn't check how much is left of these stockpiles. Now as we can see, there's not that much left. This gathering post was useless. This is already finished, so we may build a gathering post here instead, and that way we'll have more production. So we'll just add this one there, and we'll build a road connecting it. We can also see here on this building how much it's producing, or how much it's going to produce. Once this runs down to 0, these 2 stockpiles will finish. We can also see individually how much there's left of them. We can also sign another law. We signed the emergency shift before. Now what we can do is do something with food. So I recommend you guys to go with soup. Once we sign it, we can basically go to the cookhouse and choose soup. So the standard meal will produce 4 food rations from 2 raw food, whereas the soup will produce 5 food rations from 2 raw food. So you're gaining in terms of that. So always do soup. Although discontent will go up, it's still a good choice to make, because you'll have more food at the end of the day. Now I think it's time to start building homes and fulfill your promise to your people. Each house will house 10 citizens, so you'll need 40 to meet this criteria. I think you'll need 4 shelters to fulfill this criteria. Okay guys, so now it's time to add a new research. I recommend that you guys start researching the beacon, because that's just gonna allow you to search the wasteland and find very important resources. Everyone feels relieved with roof, even flapping one over their head. Hope rises. Discontent will fall. So as you can see, because we started off very quickly, discontent was rising very fast. But now, once you fulfill your promises, obviously discontent goes down and hope goes up. And that's exactly what we've done. We can build another tent here. I told you guys why gathering posts are important. Now I'll explain to you guys why. Because we researched heaters, we can actually turn heaters on right there. Now they're going to use more coal, but it doesn't really matter, because once you reach day 4, which is just around the corner, we can turn the heaters on and people are still going to be able to collect the necessary resources while in the cold. So that's going to benefit us heaps. Now we can research another thing. We'll research the steam hubs, because these tents at the back here won't have enough heat from the generator on day 4. So we can introduce another law right now. So I'm going to sign a cemetery law here. This is going to give us a hope rise, but we'll also have to build a cemetery in the map for us to fulfill that further objective, which is also going to give us a further rise in hope, which is a good thing. So you can see hope rose dramatically and discontent dropped significantly too. So as you can see, guys, the drop is coming. As soon as the workday starts, the drop will be here. So almost there. There we go. The drop is here, guys. The temperature decreased by 20 and now it's 40 degrees, minus 40 degrees. So what we're going to do is turn on the heaters right here. As you can see, if I open up the temperature gauges right here, we have it cold right now, but as it heats up, it's going to become chilly. There we go. So the heaters are turned on. Now it's chilly. Moderate chance of getting sick. That's good for us right now. And this is basically going to ensure that we don't stop making production. We don't stop working. And that's the key to survival in this game. As long as we make sure our citizens keep working in whatever conditions, we will continue making more and more resources to survive. We need to build a hunter's cabin. We'll build one right here for now. I'm not focused on the way the map looks. I'm just showing you guys a good guide, a good starting point for you guys follow in order to basically build a very successful city. Okay guys, so this is built now. We'll add 15 workers. Now these guys at night will go hunting and they'll bring us food in the morning. This right now will provide us with 15 raw food daily. Now you do the math. 15 raw food will give us 37.5. So we're gonna have, from 15 raw food, we'll have 37.5 food rations daily, which is a good starting point. Now if you want to increase this, you can obviously build another hunter's cabin right next to it, and we'll add more workers in there, and combined we'll have 30, and that's just gonna double our food production. Now we can sign another law right here. Now as you can see here, we have child labor, all jobs. Just because you sign this doesn't mean your children can actually work everywhere, because some dangerous jobs they can't do. But if you sign child labor, all jobs, they can basically work in coal mines and stuff like that. But for now we don't actually need it, because we don't have those dangerous jobs yet. We only have gathering posts and stuff like that, and a lot of children can do that. A very beneficial law would be extended shifts. Just in case you run into some trouble, you can extend the shift hours, or even extend the shift hours for certain buildings. That way you'll be getting more resources in a workday. Now discontent will rise because people don't like really working really long hours. A good upgrade would be our hunter's gear, which is going to give us 20 raw food per hunt. So right now the hunter's cabin is giving us, or hunter's hut I should say, is giving us only 15 per day. If we research this, it will give us 20 raw food. So it's just going to increase it by 5, which is not bad. Okay, so the coal depleted here, but luckily we've got. Okay, so sawmill is also researched, but we've got this thing building now, and we can dismantle this one because the coal is finished. You can see here it says very cold. Our citizens can actually get sick from that. That's fine. It's just for a short while until it's finished building. Okay guys, so the fighting arena is built and we've increased by 1, so now we're minus 30 degrees. Discontent falls, pretty sure because it was a bit too cold for these guys, that's why they were struggling a little bit. So our food supply is pretty good. The hunters' huts are working really nicely. This sign basically only means that there's sick people that are not at work, so they're absent. So once they're actually healed, they will get back to work, so it shouldn't be a problem. Now, right here it tells us to build a beacon. Now, the beacon, once you build the beacon, you basically have eyes outside of this crater. You can set up a scouts team, which consists of about 5 people, I'm pretty sure. I may be mistaken with that, but once you set up the scouts team, then you can basically send them out to different areas or key areas around the wasteland. Once they get there, they'll find different resources. They may even find different citizens. It depends on the location. In some areas, you can even put outposts, which means you can build certain stations there, and they're gonna send you resources on a daily occasion. So every day you'll receive resources from those areas, from those locations. Now, at this point in time, you've basically beaten the 4th day, and you're basically set for the next stage. The next drop is in about another 4 days, which is going to drop by 1 again. So you're going to go down to 4, so minus 40 degrees. So at that point, you're already set up. Everything is set up perfectly. You can survive that drop once again very easily because you've already survived it once. At this point, all you'll need to do is basically, you've researched the sawmill. You'll have to just build sawmills around these trees. Then after that, you're researching drawing boards. You'll have access to these ones. After you research the drawing boards, I recommend you guys to research the steelworks. Once you research the steelworks, you can build one onto this. That's gonna produce steel for you guys after this is finished, after these stockpiles are done. Or you can even, if you really want to, you can avoid upgrading the drawing boards now and just upgrade the saw or research the steelworks, and that way you'll basically have steelworks up and running way before you finish the stockpile. Okay, then after that you can research the coal thumper before the 2 stockpiles here finish. That way you can add a coal thumper around the map, and that's going to pump out coal from the ground, and you just need to put 2 gathering posts, which are right here, 2 gathering posts around it in its radius, and then your citizens will just have an unlimited supply of coal. Once you upgrade from there, you can just keep researching down the research tree. You're gonna get the coal minings, you're gonna get more exploration stuff, you can upgrade the food, you can get a hothouse, flying hunters. That way you'll get more food, more resources, more everything, and that's a good thing. It's important, in my opinion, to have as much as of these workshops as you can, but obviously keep an eye out on your engineers. You're also going to need multiple medical posts because one is not enough. One can only house 5 patients, as you can see. So we got 6 patients that are sick and they're not in hospital. They're not in the medical post. So you'll need another medical post. A medical post can only have engineers working in there. For now, you'll have to keep an eye on your engineers. You can't be using them too carelessly because you'll have to place them in the right spot to make your city functional. But if you have enough engineers, always make sure that you put them in workshops, because that's just gonna decrease the amount of time you need to research new things, and that way you'll develop the city much quicker. So as I said, now you're in a very good position to develop and grow from this point onwards. All you'll need is make the right decisions in terms of what you research first and what you don't. I'd recommend at this point in time, if you're in my position as I am right now, I'd research the steelworks, then I'd research the drawing boards, then I'd research the coal thumper. That's what I would do. Because food, in terms of food, I think we're doing alright. In terms of wood, we can build the sawmill, and the coal, it should be fine for another 2 days. I reckon this is going to take them another 2 days to run out of. So yeah guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is, in my opinion, the best way of starting the game. The main point to get from this video, the main idea, is to build the gathering posts around the stockpiles. Those are very important. If you don't have those around the stockpiles, by the time you reach day 4 and the temperature drops, you're going to have a very, very hard time keeping up with your citizens and how sick they get. As you saw right here, when they were collecting the steel within day 4 or within the day 5 or whatever, or when the temperature was minus 40 degrees, it said up top here very cold, which means that's probably why we got so many sick people right now. That was a probably dumb decision that I made. But if you have these gathering posts around the stockpiles, you will not have any sick citizens because they're going to have heating to take care of them. And you'll easily beat day 4. You'll easily beat the first drop in temperature. And after that, it's just up to you, the way you want to develop. All you'll need to keep up with is the resources and making sure to have the right buildings unlocked before your stockpiles run out. So keep that in mind. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please leave a like on this video and subscribe to the channel, because that will help me grow. And that's going to recommend this video to a lot of other people that need help with this start of game. And if you really enjoyed this guide and it helped you, comment down below and tell me that it did, because I really like and enjoy hearing from people that I was of help. And if you have any other issues starting this game, or if this guide did not work for you, just leave a comment down there and let me know about it, and I will always reply to you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.